thy limbs dost falter. Firstly, the elder folk partake of these 5 verdant sustenances to fortify their strength. Dost thou ever find thy limbs feeble, weary, or trembling after a prolonged sojourn upon thy feet? Hast thou observed that the ascent of stairs doth seem more arduous than in days of yore, or that thy footing lacks the steadiness it once possessed? If so, thou art not solitary in thy plight. Please subscribe to the channel so you can watch useful videos. It hath been revealed through diligent study that 1 in 3 adults beyond the age of 50 dost encounter a measure of muscle loss, which may give rise to frailty and troubles of movement. If left to fester, this peril doth heighten the chance of tumbles, which bring forth more than 3 million visits to the emergency chamber each year amongst the elder folk. Lo, the tidings be fair, for thou needst not costly potions nor a feast abundant in protein to maintain the strength of thy legs. The proper fare of the vegetarian kind may invigorate thy muscles, enhance the flow of thy blood, and vanquish weariness, all in a manner most natural. Abide with me until the final hour, for today I shall unveil 5 potent victuals of the vegetarian kind, which shall aid thee in preserving robust and steadfast limbs for many a year hence. Let us leap forthwith into the fray. What dost thou reckon, prithee, is the import of leg strength as the years doth advance upon us? Many a soul doth presume that the waning of muscle is but a natural consequence of the passage of years. Yet, in truth, it oft arises from the choices of one's life and the absence of vital sustenance. To maintain thy limbs in strength, a matter of utmost import doth arise for manifold reasons. Firstly, it doth aid in the prevention of falls. Feeble limbs, alas, do greatly lend themselves to tumbles, which stand as the foremost harbinger of demise through injury in the elder folk. Each passing year, a quarter of elders beyond the age of 65 dost encounter a fall, and such misfortunes doth bear the weight of over 95% of fractures of the hip. To fortify thine limbs doth greatly diminish this peril. Secondly, robust limbs doth enhance the flow of life's vital currents. Alas, the wretched flow of blood may bring forth swelling, the unsightly varicose veins, and the torment of leg cramps. Studies reveal that as many as 4 in 10 souls beyond the age of 50 do suffer from persistent troubles of circulation, leading to discomfort and weariness in their limbs. Consistent motion and the engagement of sinews, bolstered by wholesome sustenance, may aid in the harmonious flow of blood with great efficiency. Another grand boon of robust limbs is enhanced mobility and the sweet gift of independence. Research doth reveal that those who preserve the strength of their limbs are 4 and 40% less inclined to encounter the shackles of mobility as the years advance. Robust limbs dost grant thee the power to be active, to traverse greater distances, and to carry forth thy daily endeavors with grace and ease. In conclusion, the fortitude of one's leg muscles doth lend great support to the well-being of the joints. Almost half of those who have crossed the threshold of 65 do endure the torment of joint afflictions, and the frailty of their muscles doth exacerbate their plight. Muscles of greater strength dost relieve the burden from thy knees, hips, and lower back, thus diminishing pain and enhancing stability in its entirety. What fare dost thou partake to bolster thy muscle strength, fortify thy joints, and enhance thy circulation? Let us embark upon a journey to uncover the 5 finest vegetarian fare that shall fortify thy limbs and imbue them with vigor and vitality. Behold the 5th sustenance, spinach. A verdant bastion, robust in its gifts for sinew and skeletal fortitude. Spinach, thou art not merely a verdant leaf cast into a salad's embrace. Verily, 'tis a mighty force for fortifying thy limbs with strength. Brimming with iron, magnesium, and calcium, it doth nourish thy muscles and fortify thy bones, thus enabling thee to remain vigorous and full of life. Why doth spinach stand as a necessity for robust limbs? Iron doth ensure that thy leg muscles receive the vital breath of oxygen, thus warding off the specters of fatigue and weakness. Lo, magnesium doth labor in the shadows, quelling the torment of cramps and ensuring thy nerves do spark with proper vigor. Moreover, calcium and vitamin K dost conspire to fortify thy bones, aiding in the prevention of fractures and the dread malady of osteoporosis. How dost thou incorporate the verdant spinach into thy daily repast? Cast forth fresh spinach into thy salads, wraps, or sandwiches, that thou mayst reap an effortless bounty of nourishment. Combine it with yon banana and almond milk, thus crafting a refreshing potion most delightful. With garlic and olive oil, let it dance upon the flame, a swift and savory companion to thy feast. But a mere handful of servings each week may grant thee strength and vigor anew. Behold, the fourth sustenance, lentils, the finest sustenance derived from nature's bounty, most noble for the mending of sinews and the fortification of the flesh. If thy limbs dost feel feeble, perchance thou art lacking in sufficient protein. Therein lies the entrance of lentils. These diminutive yet formidable legumes dost abound with iron, potassium, and fiber, rendering them a splendid source of plant-derived sustenance to invigorate thy muscles. How lentils dost aid in fortifying thy legs. Lentils, those humble legumes, dost abound in protein, a boon to the weary flesh, mending the sinews and guarding against the waning of strength. Iron doth sustain thy vigor, ensuring the flow of life's essence, whilst magnesium and potassium, in harmonious accord, dost fortify thy sinews and avert the torment of cramping limbs. How dost one partake of lentils? Prepare a hearty and soothing broth of lentils, enriched with the bounty of vegetables and a symphony of spices. Incorporate lentils, once cooked, into thy salads or grain bowls, thus bestowing upon thy meal a bounty of protein. Partake in a robust and fragrant lentil curry, rich with spices aplenty. Not only do lentils fortify thy muscles, but they also aid in the stabilization of thy blood's sweet essence, ensuring thy vigor remains steadfast throughout the day. Behold, the third sustenance, almonds fair. Wholesome fats dost fortify the sinews and joints, bestowing strength upon them. These crisp and dainty morsels doth bestow a formidable might upon the strength of one's limbs. Almonds, those noble nuts, dost abound with wholesome fats, rich protein, and vital minerals that fortify thy muscles and bring joy to thy joints. Why do almonds serve as a wondrous boon for the fortitude of one's legs? Almonds, those noble nuts, dost abound in vitamin E and wholesome fats, which do aid in the noble battle against inflammation that besets thy leg muscles and joints. Their content of magnesium doth sustain the muscles in their proper function, warding off the specters of cramps and weakness. Moreover, the union of protein and fiber doth bestow upon thee enduring vigor, sustaining thy limbs with strength throughout the day. How to savor the delights of almonds? Seize thee a handful of unadorned almonds for a swift and wholesome repast. Bestow upon thy oatmeal, salads, or yogurt a delicate shower of sliced almonds, that they may gain a pleasing crunch. Combine them in a potion of smooth delight, or craft thine own almond spread of exquisite taste. To thine own self be true, for the addition of almonds to thy daily repast doth fortify thy limbs, rendering them robust and free from ache. Lo, the second sustenance, bananas, the supreme enhancer of vigor and the flow of life's essence. Dost thou find thy limbs wearying with undue haste? Thou mayest require an abundance of potassium. Lo, bananas doth stand as a most excellent source of this vital mineral, accompanied by magnesium and the sweetness of nature's own sugars, rendering them the ideal sustenance to uplift thy weary legs. How dost bananas lend strength to thy limbs? Lo, bananas dost thwart the pangs of muscle cramps and the weariness of fatigue, for they are rich in the noble mineral potassium. Their sweet nectar doth bestow upon thee a swift surge of vigor, aiding thee in thy quest for prolonged activity. Moreover, they dost enhance the circulation, ensuring that thy leg muscles receive the vital flow of blood they so require. How dost one partake of bananas? Combine yon banana with the rich embrace of peanut butter for a most gratifying repast. Cut it asunder, and bestow it upon thy oatmeal, yogurt, or smoothies, that they may be graced with a sweetness most natural. Combine it with almond milk, that thou mayst craft a delightful elixir to invigorate thy spirit. Lo, a single banana each day doth fortify thy limbs, preparing them for the journey ahead. Lo, the humble chia seeds, though small in stature, dost possess great might, a superfood most noble for the fortification of muscle and bone alike. Though small in stature, these chia seeds dost bear a weighty boon of nourishment. Rich in omega-3s, protein, calcium, and magnesium, these tiny seeds perform marvels for thy muscles and joints. How chia seeds dost fortify the strength of one's legs. Lo, the noble omega-3 fatty acids doth aid in the reduction of inflammation within thy joints, preserving them in a state of blissful ease. calcium and magnesium doth fortify both bones and sinews, whilst fiber and protein doth bestow a steady vigor to sustain thy movements throughout. How dost one partake of chia seeds? Immerse them in the embrace of water or milk, that thou mayest conjure a delectable chia pudding most divine. Incorporate them into thy smoothies, yogurt, or oatmeal, forsooth, to bestow an effortless boon of nourishment. Bestow upon thy salads or soups a sprinkling of chia seeds, that they may gain both texture and nourishment most divine. Merely a spoonful or two each day shall fortify thy limbs, rendering them both strong and supple. The knowledge imparted within this visual discourse doth serve but for the enlightenment of the mind, and ought not to be deemed as counsel of a medical nature. Pray, seek the counsel of a learned healer, ere thou dost embark upon any alteration of thy sustenance, particularly if thou art burdened with ailments of yore. Lo, the reactions of each soul to sustenance doth differ, and in temperance lies the essence of a harmonious repast. Beware. Perilous potions and lurking dangers doth reside within these comestibles. Though these verdant victuals dost brim with nourishment to fortify robust limbs, they bear certain perils of which some souls ought to be mindful. Text. Thy body doth respond in varied ways to diverse sustenances, thus it be of utmost import to comprehend how they may influence thee. Hark! Attend to that which thou must heed. Firstly, behold the leafy green, spinach, fraught with oxalates, which may lead to the formation of stones within the kidneys. Peril. Spinach, a veritable treasure of nourishment, doth also harbor within its verdant leaves a wealth of oxalates, those natural compounds that may lend their hand to the formation of stones in the kidneys, particularly for those who are susceptible to such afflictions. If thou hast ever borne the torment of a kidney stone, thou art well aware of the anguish it doth bring upon thee. What tidings of joy dost thou bring? Thou canst diminish this peril by coupling spinach with foods rich in calcium, such as almonds or the bounty of dairy. Calcium doth assist in the binding of oxalates, rendering them less prone to coalesce into stones within thy kidneys. 2 humble lentils dost thou seek, anti-nutrients and the vexations of the gut. Behold, the humble lentil, rich in protein and fiber, doth bestow upon us the gifts of strength for our sinews and ease for our digestion. Yet, within their essence lies phytates and lectins, those compounds deemed anti-nutrients, for they possess the power to hinder the absorption of certain minerals. There be those who, after partaking of lentils, dost find themselves beset by the discomfort of bloating and the unwelcome presence of gas. To render them more gentle upon thy digestive faculties, consider soaking or sprouting them ere the act of cooking. This humble measure doth assist in dismantling those anti-nutrients, thereby granting thy body the boon of absorbing more of the beneficial essence. In the 3rd chapter, we delve into the realms of almonds, the perilous oxalates, and the treacherous risks of overindulgence. Almonds, those delightful morsels, dost present themselves as a splendid repast, brimming with wholesome fats and noble protein. Yet dost thou know that they too harbor oxalates, akin to the noble spinach? Partaking in an excess of almonds may indeed heighten the peril of kidney stones, particularly for those already susceptible to such afflictions. Moreover, their richness in calories doth render it all too simple to consume them in abundance, oft without cognizance of the deed. What dost thou deem the finest course of action? Partake in but a modest handful, perchance 15 to 20 almonds each day, to reap the bounteous benefits whilst avoiding the burdens of excess oxalates or calories. Fourthly, the humble banana doth bring forth both spikes in blood-sweet nectar and a bounty of potassium. Excess doth weigh upon the soul. Bananas, those golden fruits of nature, dost provide a bounteous supply of potassium. Yet beware, for excess of such a boon may bring forth harm, particularly to those whose kidneys are troubled. Excessive potassium, a malady known as hyperkalemia, doth pose a perilous threat to those whose kidneys are unable to filter it with due diligence. Moreover, the humble banana doth harbor within its golden form natural sugars, which may lead to surges in blood sugar, a circumstance most unfavorable for those afflicted with diabetes. To maintain a harmonious state, partake of 1 banana each day, and accompany it with the noble sustenance of protein or fiber, such as almonds or chia seeds, that thou mayest regulate the ebb and flow of thy blood's sweet essence. 5. Seeds of chia, troubles of digestion, and the thinning of blood. Though small in stature, chia seeds possess great strength, brimming with fiber, protein, and the noble omega-3s. Yet, in their nature to drink of the waters and swell, they may bring forth discomfort, a burden of the belly, or perchance a perilous plight should they be consumed in their parched state. If thou hast ever cast chia seeds into water and beheld their swelling form, thou shalt comprehend the reason why. To shun discomfort, thou shouldst ever immerse them ere partaking. Moreover, one must consider that chia seeds possess the power to thin the blood, a trait that may prove perilous for those who partake in the use of blood-thinning remedies. If such be the case, seek counsel from thy physician, ere thou dost make them a customary element of thy repast. At the close of day's weary course, 'tis naught but balance that doth matter most. These victuals dost bear great boon, yet to be mindful of their possible perils may guide thee in making wiser choices for thy repast. Attend thou to the whispers of thy body, and shouldst thou harbor any doubts, seek the counsel of a healer most wise. Pray, enlighten me, which of these comestibles dost thou intend to incorporate into thy repast first? Pray, share thy musings in the comments below. Shouldst thou find this video of aid, prithee, do not forget to bestow thy like, share it with thy kin, and subscribe for further counsel on matters of health. Hark, let us raise a toast to limbs robust and full of vigor.